All right, let's bring in General Keith Kellogg, former U.S. Special Envoy for Ukraine and AFPI Center for American Security co-chair. General Kellogg, what's your take on what happened? I think it's always good when the two leaders are speaking and talking with each other, but what's your take on all these national security issues?
Yeah, Jason, thank you very much. It's good to be with you. Look, it was very clear to me the respect they have for President Donald J. Trump. It was clear if you compare previous visits from like President Obama to President Trump, there's no doubt. And I think they understand that we've got, our foot on the throat of Iran, and they need Iran. When you look at 90% of the Iran exports go to China to feed their economy. Their economy's not doing well. Ours is. We don't need the Gulf oil. They do. And they need oil to expand their economy. So when I look at what's happening in the Gulf, it's really good. The only reasonable guy in this whole thing has been President Trump. He's been a war president. He understands that. Look, I'm just noise level. He's the President of the United States. Constitutionally, he's the Commander-in-Chief. He's the only Commander-in-Chief. But I'm one of those guys who goes a little bit harder on it, meaning I would like to take something of value and put their administration, the Iranians, at risk. And that's the reason I've said repeatedly, take something like Kharg Island or seize the islands in the Strait. The reason for that is like taking your car or your house. Now I own it. You've got my phone number. Give me a call when you want it back, and then we'll talk about it. We don't keep it for perpetuity, but we keep it for negotiating reasons. And their economy will die totally as long as we have controls of that. Blockades are great, and this blockade has been really, it's been superbly executed in how it's been done. But blockades can get to be porous, and over time, let's withdraw the warships that we have there because we don't need them there. If we control the islands, we control the straits, which we do right now, and control their economic output at Kharg Island, then we control it for the future. The president has those options. I don't have any doubt he'll make good decisions because he's got great instincts. He'll follow through on those, and I think this is where we need to go in the end to get rid of a theocratic bunch of thugs who are running Iran right now. And oh, by the way, the last point, they've got a defense they called Mosaic, and they basically decentralized the Republican Guards. I'm sorry, the Revolutionary Guards that are involved in it. The one thing that their Mosaic didn't count on, though, did not count on an American president like Donald J. Trump. Yeah. That's the failure of their plan, and that's what we need to keep prosecuting.
Yeah, no getting off the tail of Air Force One for Donald Trump. I thought the welcome from China was legitimate. I thought it was respectful, and I'm just glad that it's not Kamala Harris or Joe Biden trying to get that through where we'd all be on pins and needles. We actually have somebody who actually knows how to negotiate with people and stand true, because we are the world's economic and military superpower. But one of the things the Chinese wanted to talk about was Taiwan, and that dominated the discussion from Beijing. That's what they wanted to talk about. Have a listen to what the president had to say on his way home.
I want to see a fight for independence because that would be a very strong confrontation. He says, look, we've had it for thousands of years, and I made no commitment either way.
Yeah, no commitment either way. That's probably not what President Xi wanted to hear, but what do you make of this?
One word, maybe it can be hyphenated, masterclass. I mean, the president is absolutely perfect in this. It's how he negotiates. He sent a clear message to President Xi, and then the rest of the world needs to kind of look at it. So he did exactly what I expected him to do, make no commitment about it, let the other guys think about it. We're the premier power in the world, and he's the premier leader in the world. We'll leave it at that.
Well, he did. It's peace through strength, but you also have to have a strong personal relationship, and you need a person who is actually a strong leader. I want to go back here, though, a little bit more to having the business leaders in the room, because we brought our superpower of CEOs into that room. What do you think that effect is on China? I mean, everybody from Elon Musk to the heads of, Apple and NVIDIA and some of the other superstar companies that are U.S.-based. What was the message the president was trying to send with that?
Well, I thought it was pretty clear. We're number one, you're number two, and it's our 1A. The fact of the matter, we've got the richest man in the world. We got the CEO of NVIDIA there as well. We have all these great leaders in front of us, and it just shows you how good we are. And I think that was a great statement he was making with having those key leaders there. They've got his flank. The president knows that, and the president was willing to execute by showing those leaders to President Xi. He didn't roll out his. Well, I guess there was one that he rolled out. But for the most part, we rolled out our key leaders. They were with the president. They showed support of the president. Done deal.
Yeah, it's a difference between having a dictatorship and having a democracy and a republic where you actually have, thriving markets and market leaders. But I do hope that somehow, some way, they address the IP theft, the spying that is going on, not only pervasive in our country, but on those companies there as well. But I know they also want to open up the Chinese market as best they can. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see how that also plays out. So very interesting the way that played out. General Keith Kellogg, really, truly do appreciate what you have to bring in terms of this. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason.